What was the last building that they showed with the lightning striking?
The theater.
Okay.
All right. That that was a lot. I apologize, guys. I'm not gonna be able to put any pictures up or anything for this review because I am emotionally compromised. This episode was directed by Neil. Um, the return of Pedro Pascal and Bella together. Um, some would say they had the best chemistry in the whole entire series. This was honestly Joel's episode. Not just his, not just his going away episode, but it's kind of like a generational transition that happened in this episode. Um, and I think it was perfectly executed, in my personal opinion. But I'm gonna go across the horn for everybody, even though everybody's emotionally wrecked. Um, you know what, Jorge? Uh, you're gonna pick up the pieces today. So, what was your take on this?
Y'all are gonna hate me for this one.
Go
Um,
for it. Maybe it'll kick us out of the emotional wreck we are right now. Um,
I mean, I understand. For you guys who have played the game, obviously this was a good episode and all that. Was this shot and beautifully? Yes. Did it progress the story to an extent? I I think this. I don't know if I needed this episode. That's the easiest way I can put it. And I know for you guys, it probably means a lot more. But I think for me, I this was good just because it gave me a little bit more of Joel's backstory, and I was able to understand a little bit more of at the end of the day who Joel is and why he became the way he was.
Mhm.
But you kind of saw um, Ellie transform into Joel last episode.
Mhm.
So for me, other than using the same lines that Joel's dad used on him, and obviously he used on Ellie. Um, yeah, like I just
No. This is this. I'm perfectly fine with this
yeah,
because
like I just didn't
for,
see. This is gonna sound terrible. I didn't see the value added of this episode, and I felt they could have done so much more with Ellie and her situation, or showing us Tommy and his situation, or stuff like that. I think this episode was trying to be an emotional episode, which it was. I think this episode as a standalone, great in terms of progressing the story or giving me more.
yeah. I
Okay,
without
so
wait
can I jump in?
wait.
I don't have much to say. I'm about to leave, so can I just say something really quick? I don't have much to say, unfortunately.
Okay.
So for me, I thought this was like at least, well, I can say confidently for season two, this was easily my favorite episode. Uh, I doubt that they do something better than this, so that's concerning for the audience. But this was definitely my favorite episode. There's so much that happened here, uh, from like kind of like revealing like these characters, like in case you didn't know or weren't sure, this sort of like clarified like both Ellie and Jill's position, like defined them truly. I felt like, I guess, like personality wise, or whatever their inner essence is, whatever. I think it's quite obvious like what kinds of people they are from here, you know. My issue is sort of like this episode was so great. It's unfortunate that like each episode didn't feel so like seismic or like eventful or as emotional or as like, oh, this is where this character is coming from. This was like standout episode for me, but like it's weird because it sure shows like the flaws and seams of this season, but I would say that I personally love this episode. I don't really have much more to say to say outside of that, so I might drop off, but I did just want to say that much.
So this is what I'll say to Jorge's perspective. For me and Ronan and Jarrell, technically, we've seen the whole entire picture.
Yeah.
And this episode, by the time you finish the third season, this is going to be not filler. This is going to be essential and instrumental to the soul of how this narrative is going to go. What I'll say is that there are threads in this that are going to call back, because, and I understand it. I get exactly what Jorge's saying, because technically where we left off, he's like, dude, keep us going. Like we're on the track and trajectory of where this is.
He's not wrong there. He's not wrong.
I think the main issue, this episode would have been so much more impactful if it was done before the last episode, because then you would have seen Ellie's rage and you would have understood it better. But because I saw last episode, I already understood where her headspace was. I already, in a weird way, I got it. Like I didn't need. I didn't need another episode to tell me why Ellie is so angry and so bitter, while yet still, you know, in a weird way, I don't want to say loving Joel, but like accepting Joel for who he is.
Yeah, because it's like, if we never got this episode, technically, we never knew, outside of her telling Nora that she knew the truth. Because the end of the season, last season, she knew that there was something wrong to begin with. And then we jumpstart 5 years and we just know she's bitter, but we don't know, was it when, at what point did she find out? And this episode is the when and the what, but the reasoning, the rationale behind it is kind of a generational thing. Is the progression of who was my father before me and how can I be a better dad? How can I be better equipped? Yeah. And technically Joel was never equipped. Like he didn't even go through an actual life with his own daughter. And all the different threads of what that means, he did do a considerable job given where he kind of came from, but he also made the same unfortunate mistakes as well. And it came out of fear. It's not selfishness, it's fear, ultimately. Yeah. And I think that's what the crux of this is, because that same exact fear is literally the driving force of why Ellie is going to go the trajectory she's going. But what I will say, the cornerstone of this episode will not mean a thing until much later on. I don't know how to really explain it, but I'm glad that you're saying it, because it also helps me be able to connect with other people that haven't played the game, didn't have to go through it. Because if I had never played the game and then I kind of got that, I'm like, man, this is beautiful, but like, where are we going to top this and where this is going to kind of progress?
Yeah, that's where he's not wrong. Like, ironically, at this point in the game, I mean, I don't know if I felt as strongly, but I did feel a sense of what he's talking about, though, of like, this is beautiful, but like, why are you doing this? I just want to sort of advance along and to see Abby die, you know what I mean? So he's not like wrong or wholly wrong, that's for sure. I felt a similar vibe during the game, but
it would have been a great series finale. Like, it would have been the ultimate bookend of like, there you go.
Well, I'm
See
gonna
it,
do my comments for later.
and
I think I think
I-
it's hard because Neil Druckmann revealed to me that he's the best director so far, so that's awkward. Because there's many episodes he hasn't directed between this season and last, and like B, I feel like this episode was done at such a high level that you don't notice when you're going through the story for the first time because you're so like inundated by like Jill's death and stuff, you know, and like the scars and stuff. You don't really like notice how significant what we just saw was, unfortunately. But I think what makes what Jorge is saying hard is that for me, someone who knows the path, I feel like most things outside this episode in season 2 weren't done as well from like a narrative quality level. So it's a tricky one. What Jorge is bringing up, it's a tricky one.
And it's hard for me to speak on it because I do know the significance. I do know where it goes. It's kind of like I don't know Jorge hasn't seen Attack on Titan, but there's threads of Attack on Titan that you see something and you don't think anything of it, and then later on down the line you're like, freaking hell, this is really important. But
yeah,
I respect your decision and their thoughts because I understand them. And when I was playing, I felt something very similar. It's just weird because you haven't played it; you're literally experiencing it.
Yeah.
So at this point where you're at, I was more frustrated and at the same time valuing a reprieve of trauma. Like I think it was kind of like, man, this is really beautiful. How dare you, Neil? Like, let's get to the freaking killing of this person. But dang, I'm glad to see Joel again. That's kind of where I was in between while I was
Interesting.
playing at the time. I was like, freak, even though I'm glad to see him, he's gone. And I'm still pissed about it. And there's nothing that I can do about it. And I'm like, why are you going to show me this, Shiggity? Just get me where I need to go. But Ronan, I apologize because I've kept you from you okay?
I was not expecting all of this. Again, I suspected the museum, and that was it. Um, the cold opening, that was tragically. I don't even want to say beautiful. Just say tragically honest.
We've never seen it. That wasn't even.
I've never seen that. Like again, this is
you knew nothing
again
about Joel's
nothing.
Like father, mother, anything.
Like at this, like in the game, we just know that like, oh, he had Sarah, he had Sarah, and then his wife, went away. How? Why? That was still even negated to Ellie. She asked at one point, and he's just like, she's like, too much. And it's like the fact that we got this.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Sick bastard. The body dragging in the horse, the same blood spot on the same bag.
It's no different than his own making, essentially.
I'm trying to tread lightly with the gaming experience because there's stuff that is remixed.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I can't say nothing. I can't say
I would, the only thing I could do, and I felt bad even for Jorge for seeing me like this because I didn't want him to see me like this, but I was just like, I just couldn't stop crying because A, I couldn't say anything, and B, it was just like, wait a minute, this is too much for one episode, man. Like this is like, yeah, I for anybody who keeps bitching and moaning about Pedro's and everything and whatnot, I'm like, y'all saying that the era of superstars is dead? I say not. I say this guy is right up there, in my opinion. I think he's conquered TV, and I think he's going to be conquering cinemas pretty soon. This is gonna be a terrible like Father's Day episode to watch on a Father's Day. Like, I feel bad for all fathers around the world. And
I mean, coming out on Father's Day.
Imagine that they play this on Father's Day. Like, whew,
but was it terrible for Father's Day?
Okay,
when you really
wrong word, but like just say heavy for a Father's Day thing. I'm like,
terrible for Father's Day.
It puts you to the ringer, and yeah, I'm very, very eager to hear the whole world's reaction to this. Not just gamers, not just first time viewers. Everybody unanimously or together and whatnot. I think I echo Jorel's sentiments. I effing love this episode. It was beautiful. Even an interaction with Seth and Joel. I'm trying to catch up other stuff. The cake, Pearl Jam. Yeah, it's a lot, and I'm just throwing out the first reaction. So I still need I'm gonna need not even a day. I'm gonna need 2 days to let this really sink in and be like, okay, because I kind of get Jorge's perspective, and yet I get Sam's perspective, and yet I'm like, what else left do you have cooking? What else? What are the punches that you got left? Because this is the ultimate right hook or left hook if you're southpaw. But yeah, kudos to Neo. Kudos to, I think I saw in the credits Hallie Gross also co-wrote this episode. Yeah, I just want to meet Pedro immediately. Just give him a hug. I'm like, hey man, you don't know who I am, but I just want to just give you a hug, man.
Yeah, the thing I was gonna say, and I think all three of us had a conversation, and I kind of was like, before we got to season 2, I was like, please let it be linear. Please don't let it be non-linear, right? I've always wanted to know the 5-year gap. In the game, you get sprinkles of what happens in the 5-year, but you never get a 5-year
like a
bottle day
representation
at all. It just wasn't gonna happen. So then when I saw the first trailer for this, I was like, freak, it's not gonna be linear at all, it's gonna be non-linear. And so it's kind of like in this episode, in addition to the generational side of what it means to actually be a father or responsibility, because technically now Ellie is gonna have to be that. I mean, Ellie technically said it, but she's gonna have to figure out what that means for this child, right? But this also gave a full 5 years from the moment until the last moment she sees him. And I didn't think we were going to ever get that. I didn't know how they could have done that because it was non-linear. And so it's kind of like, you could say, yeah, maybe you could use this episode for the very first episode, technically, and it wouldn't have hurt or helped anything, but they did it. And
even the scene with Kat. I'm trying my best not to cry again. The scene with Kat and Ellie's first love in Jackson, and then the tattoo, and then Joel overreacting, and then him coming back to the room and saying, maybe you do need your space. And let me look at the tattoo one time and just
this is stuff that we just didn't get. I'll put it to you like this, Jorge.
It's a whole new experience.
The story's so hard because, usually you just do the fucking normal thing, there's this there's this villainous act, and then the hero's like, oh, I want revenge, and they find said person, then they ask for revenge, and then things go on, people clap. But Last of Us has more complex.
I feel like Druckmann saw Logan again. He's like, I could do that in an hour. I could do that in an hour. And it's like, what the fuck, Neil? Oh, god damn it, man.
It's definitely, I think, it's unique for us non-gamers, because I think you get so sucked into this story, and I don't want to take away, this episode was beautifully done. I don't want you to think that I'm bashing the episode. I just think
you're good.
I get it.
I think in the storyline, for me, this would have been more impactful being last week's episode instead of this week's episode, because then you understand better Ellie's rage. You understand in a weird way, her not caring about anything else. It's very, that moment, there's the moment where she came back with the horse and saw Joel and obviously homie on the ground, you just kind of see everything snap. And she was questioning herself when she left to go get the horse.
She did. She was like, but he wouldn't. He promised.
It,
Like, he wouldn't do that again.
And for her to,
because that's what I was trying to get at, is that moment, right? Yes, you could have had it last episode, but it still doesn't eliminate the impact because you had to see that.
Yeah.
It was still pivotal to see not just her distrust, but her transition.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like throughout this, she's becoming a woman. Yes. And he's becoming the benefactor father. Yes. But there's levels to her that he had to go and adapt. And the beautiful thing about it, as angry and as messed up as she was about what he did, the line delivery that, and it is in the game, is I don't think I can forgive you for this, right? But I want to try.
I would like to try. Yeah.
Like, it shows to me, out of every episode in the series, it showed the levels of their love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that he actually said it, it's because I love you. He would never, I don't even know if he had the capacity to tell that to Tommy. He wasn't built like that. They weren't raised like that. And it shows. Like, that wasn't something his dad would ever have showed. But the fact, even with the dad in tears, that was his moment to say, I love you.
Bro.
And that was,
I can't do this. I can't do this.
Bro, even it was, you know what also killed me? And again, I think we've been saying it, but this episode really should seal Pedro's name. And if he doesn't, it's a fucking robbery, highway robbery. It was when she kept asking him and he couldn't say it, but he would just nod and like tearing. I was just like, fuck, man. I didn't want to say it because I was crying, but I just kept trying to yell, Neil, stop. Let me go hug them first and then let them talk. Like, God's sakes, like, somebody do something, please. Like, Tommy, Maria. And like, again, even the moment with Maria of like, I maybe, was too harsh in that, but I do mean that you are family and I care for you and that we're here if you need anything. And
yeah, you got to really see that they all got to say goodbye to him in their own way.
Yes.
Yeah.
See you next year. Like,
and again, this is another thing that didn't happen. And I don't know where they'd be able to fit that from a narrative standpoint anywhere else. Like, even if they wait until next year, like a cold opening of the season, is this, unfortunately and fortunately, it was perfectly placed. The problem is, this is, to me, Bella and Pedro's best performance.
Yeah.
To me.
I think
them on that gosh darn porch, there's nuances to acting that certain people inherently have, but they weren't just acting; they were just these characters.
Yes,
and I think in every way, shape, or form, like Pedro, I think this was Pedro's best performance.
Yes,
interesting.
But with Bella, this might have been her best moment because I thought like her witnessing Joel's death was rough, but them breaking down the barriers to still try. There's something about natural human emotion that you can't act. It has to click. And I'm gonna end up probably rewatching just that scene alone to break that down. I really want to break down the nuances of transformative acting that transcends just reading a line and acting. Like they just decided, like, oh no, this is my dad, and I'm hurt by him, but I need him at the same time.
Jorge, it's scary how much the framing. I was freaking out while crying. The framing, it was scary how close it was to the game. Like
all this,
the coffee cup on the porch, the hands and the knuckles, like it was scary. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to. How do I put this? I don't want to take anything away from what Jorge is saying.
Exactly.
That's how I felt when I was playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So he needs to feel this.
Did they have that last scene when they were on the porch
There you go.
in the game?
There you go.
Okay, so they did have, because for me, I think that scene, it's like easiest way I can, like, I have a daughter and I know one day she's gonna grow up to be older, and she's not going to be, my girl anymore, and she's gonna make her own choices, make her own things. And I think this was the scene where he kind of, in my eyes, looking at it, accepted that.
Mm-hmm.
And he accepted that Ellie is no longer this, like, she's a woman, like she's gonna make her own decisions, her own thing. Because that, I think there comes a point in every kid's relationship with their parents where you no longer are a kid, like you both are just adults. They happen to be your parents, but you both are adults, and you kind of start a different type of friendship. And I think that's what Ellie was trying to do at that moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, like I said, the episode, I'm glad we have one more episode. I'll put it with that, because I think
you say
I
that
think
now.
Clip it.
Well, I see. Question for you, Jorge. I have a question for you, Jorge.
Careful.
Is so. Do you? Okay, so it's sort of a two-part question. Like, number one, do you want something to happen to Abby, like something bad, like a retribution, if you will?
If you can't answer that question, just leave it be, because this is a rabbit hole. No, honesty,
no. I think it goes one of two ways, to be brutally honest.
Yeah,
we're either going to reach a point in this story where
I'm gonna do this.
Ellie kind of oh, I see what you're doing, so I can't see y'all's reaction. I love it. We're going to reach a point in this story where either Ellie is going to understand Abby's side of it and have this complete transformation and understand in a weird backwards way that, Joel, as much as she loved him and all that, like, he wasn't necessarily a good guy. Because at the end of season 1, at least for me, like, it was eye-opening of, like, oh crap, like, Joel is not a nice, like, he's not a nice guy. Like, you're almost seeing the story from the villain's point of view, and this is like the villain's son, and you're kind of like, oh crap, like, this is what's happening. So I think you're either gonna get that, or you're gonna get this weird arc where she does end up confronting Abby, and once she kills her, or whatever happens that she ends up killing her, it's not going to solve anything. It's not going to solve her guilt. It's not going to solve her purpose, and she's going to recognize that. And I think her biggest thing is that at the end of the day, there's always that saying, like, would you kill like a newborn kid to like save the world? And most logical people will say no, but she was that kid that could have saved the world, and they kind of made that decision for her without her, her saying yes or no. So I think for her, that's something that she has to deal with, period. And it may just be one of those things where, because they can't find a cure, I don't want to say what good is she to the world, but that could be what she's thinking. So she could just end up which would be such a crappy way to end the show. Just throwing it out there. If it's like a murder-suicide type of situation where she kills Abby and she thinks she's going to feel very vindicated and all that, and realizing she's still empty and, you know, like offs herself. But realistically, this being a video game, something's going to happen where Abby's either going to, there's going to be some, I still, like, I think I said it last episode, there's going to be a situation where Ellie's going to have to choose between Jesse and what's her name? Dina, thank you. And there could be a situation where, and actually thinking about, there could be a situation where Ellie's going to have to choose between, am I able to kill Dina or do I have to rescue one of the three that are there helping her out?
So the reason why I asked that question was because when I was at this part in the game, you know, the main thing I thought was like, well, this is like unexpectedly like emotional and insightful and beautiful, but it's like I don't have time to fully engage with whatever you're trying to tell me, or why you even timed it so that's happening now. I just simply want Ellie to find Abby and kill Abby and anyone connected to Abby, and then, you know, life goes on. And I was curious if this is where you were at with the story, because if the answer was no, then it's curious like what held you back from thinking it was a great episode. Though I will say, you saying that this episode, it should have happened previously, is intriguing. It's not like a bad criticism.
Yeah, I mean, the whole linear storyline, it makes sense for what he's saying. Like,
I was just curious if the impulse to see, like, you know, Abby wronged or avenged was a part of like this episode's beautiful, but like I can't really like engage with it right now. I'd like to preferably see like how close are we to Abby? How close are we to Ellie finding her truth that she's looking for?
Yeah, and I think it's just more of the if I can find a fault in this season, I would say it's the pacing. Like you I feel there's, and this is an issue that you have when you have multiple directors. Some of them are running a marathon and some of them are running a sprint, and you don't know where they're going to lie and if they're going to be in sync with everything.
I'm gonna try to comment without saying anything.
I'm out.
What you're saying from a narrative perspective, just off the show.
Yeah.
I hear you and I feel you. The issue is some kind of a way how they're transitioning the adaptation standpoint of the second game to this is still on pace, because it's not really much of a difference. There's the spread of time is different because you're playing gameplay, but as far as how they're handling the narrative side of this, this is just how the game is, without saying too much.
So then
without saying too much.
So when
I handle that well, Ronan?
No. I mean, when this happens in the game,
I'm trying to be really careful.
No, when it happens in the game, there's this weird sense of like
things slow down.
It's like what you're saying is weirdly perfect, but you're just like, why? Why can't we let's get back to where we were just heading before in present day? Why are you showing this to me?
I kind of understand what Ronan, what you were saying in regards to if this would have been the season end. Because then in my mind, when I'm playing a game like this and you're going through such a high of emotions and all this, it's almost like the director pulling you back so that you can better understand in a weird way the psyche of your characters. Because in this game, you guys were saying that you don't always play as Ellie, like you play as Joel sometimes, and vice versa, and other people, right?
I'm keeping my mouth shut from that question.
Okay, no, that's. I guess I'm just trying to think of if they pull it back so that you're able to understand why this story is heading in the direction that they want it to go.
This is what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you're feeling is merited. Everything that they want you to feel is exactly how you're feeling right now. And every information that you don't have, or the thread of how the narrative is supposed to go, this is all intentional.
So dumb question, and I'm just gonna throw it out there.
I don't know if I can answer it.
No. This one is time-wise. For me, this was like an hour. What was this gameplay-wise?
Oh wow.
The game was.
Well, it depends on the person. I took a lot of time with it because I needed it personally.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm talking about kind of like this. Shoot, how can I explain this? You guys said that when the game started was basically very quickly the scene where Abby is just straight up offing Joel, and you're kind of going through the story that way. I guess I'm trying to think from your guys' point of view. Was this like the actions that happened in this episode? Was this like an hour or two of gameplay for you guys, or was this like a 30-minute like kind of cut scene?
So for me, and again, I'll reiterate what I said. The moment, okay, you remember the moment where Joel like takes her through the woods?
Yes.
And you all of a sudden see the dinosaur?
Yeah.
Right? Like gameplay, there's not a timer. I just lingered. Because one, I got to see my mans again. And I'm like she is living, like there's all the commentary. And like she's just exploring and up there with that dinosaur, and you're worried she's gonna drop off. Like all that is happening. And I don't know how much time I spent with that. The time when she was in the rocket ship, I think I might have replayed that. Just because for my peace of mind, I needed it. Now, this is what I will say.
Interesting.
There are things in this episode that I did not get to experience in the game. And I'm not going to tell you what those things are.
Mm-hmm.
But those things that I described to you right there were in the game. But other things were absolutely not there. I didn't get a chance to actually live that. You did.
And I'll say this. Some of the stuff in the museum, gameplay-wise and interaction-wise, was cut out. Like there was a couple stuff that I'm like, ooh, that wasn't there. Okay. But still, it didn't take away from the punch of that sequence.
Interesting. So this wasn't just a cutscene for you guys in the game.
It was gameplay, dude. Like them hiking and that stuff. That was like you on the joystick. Like I mean the DualShock.
You're playing through all of the whole moment, even down to Ellie being in the spaceship, was all something that you're actually experiencing. This is part of the actual narrative. It's a weird place to put in there. Hell, they had another random moment that they put in like a remastered version that just they plopped us in there, and we had to experience it. It wasn't a cutscene. It's just we had to experience the joint.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is when Joel walks in on Ellie, right, in this episode,
we
ain't get that. We ain't get none of that.
We didn't get a lot. We didn't get a lot of things. First off,
yeah.
But,
we know of Kat. Like that was something because Ellie has a journal in the game. If you pay close attention, she mentions Kat, and okay, Kat must have been Ellie's first girl and the one who gave her the tattoo. And in the remaster, there's a level where you quote unquote interact with Kat, and it's just like, so how you doing? And that was it. Like again, it's shocking how much stuff I knew and how stuff I didn't know. And they've already said it, like technically what you didn't experience in the game, it's kind of canon in the game. We just didn't show you because of the time or budget and whatnot.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I could imagine Neil wrote that scene with Joe and his dad, and he just had that in his pocket, and nobody bothered asking about that. Which that
did not exist at all.
So Sam, Ironically, I have a question for you really quick. So when I watched this episode, it became like acutely aware, like I need to go back and like watch every single fucking episode that Druckmann directed, because it just occurred to me like you know, it's either one of two things. Either A, he's the best director, and if he's not, then he is the best director of this material. But one of the two is true, I feel.
Jarrell,
And I was
he's
just
only
curious. I was just curious your thoughts on that. Just
What?
he
curious your
only
thoughts on that.
he only directed one other episode.
Did he?
It was the Tess's death. It was when they go to the museum. He believes they're on the rooftop. What do you think of that view? And when Tess died, that's the only one he directed. He co-wrote the one with he co-wrote the Left Behind one, but that was about it.
Well, this really is even more substantiates what I'm saying. But I just wanted your thoughts on that. Because now I'm thinking, well, Jesus Christ, if Druckmann had directed each episode, to say that this would have at least removed way more seams than before is an understatement. Because holy shit, there were multiple times during this episode where I was like, "Whoa!" the directing is standing out hard. And then I realized, like, oh my god, like how many hours did he spend directing scenes for the game? He had this profound advantage over all these directors that have been, mishmashed and directed in all these different episodes. And I just wonder if I would have less flaws. But anyways, but what do you think about that though? Like me saying Druckmann maybe should direct more episodes. Maybe that would remove more flaws.
So I think that his directing in this one was maybe one of the best directed episodes, because you could say an episode is not your cup of tea, but you can't deny directing, right? Like like just off of angles alone, comfortability of the cast, art direction, even down to small little moments, right? Like small little human pockets moments of scenes that we kind of already know where they're gonna go, and they still found a way of making it
impactful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So from a directing standpoint, it was excellent. I mean, I don't really have that many flaws or issues with the season, but I can stand on and say this is one of the best directed episodes of the whole entire season. That's all on him. What I will add to that is that he has more to lose, right? Directing a brand new original IP like he did. He created these IPs on his own. Like this is original. Like these didn't come from books. It came from his freaking brain. And it came from his prowess of how to do storytelling. He's the only technical video game director, creator that created a game that isn't for entertainment. He created a game for the narrative only. And that's why this can translate to a TV show very well. Most people don't create games, the way he did. And I can tell, I can point at Ronan right now, and Ronan still has issues with that narrative. He is compromised because of that narrative. Does that make it that Neil is a bad director? No, it does, but that doesn't mean he's catering to Ronan. That's the thing. He didn't make this to cater to people's feelings or where it's going to be. And I love you talking about this because I know exactly where it's going to go. And there's I forget what's the quote that Ronan said last week. This is not going to go the way you think.
Yeah.
So yeah, just prepare your emotional popcorn because God knows, God help you.
I wouldn't be surprised if when they were mapping this out, Neil was like, "Okay, cool. I'm doing this one," and they're like, "You sure?" And they're like, "No, you don't get it. I'm doing this episode," and I don't blame him.
And maybe he needed it. Maybe he needed to do that because again, he got a lot of scrutiny from the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to go into why or the details, but
it was not brutal, the most
liked. He wasn't the most liked person.
It was brutal, man. Even for me, like I was like, because I'm still mixed on the game. I was just like, some lines were crossed, but I think some of these scenes are miracles that span out of his fucking mind.
Yeah, but to answer Jarrell's question, I mean, I think that he handled this very well, and what I like to see more directed from him. Yes, I think that he's gonna have to in this next season, put his foot in it. That's the best way I can kind of say it. This some of the next season is gonna have to. He's gonna have to brave those waters, go into the abyss, as I would say. But
yeah, I think some stories benefit from a singular, voice, and this is the first time where I was like, oh no, maybe the show would have benefited from, Neil Druckmann's directorial singular vision the whole time, as opposed to 2 times.
Yeah, but this is what I will say. I think I'm gonna shut up and conclude my thoughts. If Jorge wants to say anything more, I probably will not comment. I thought that this episode was great. This is one of the best episodes of the series for me. I think it's one of the best acted this season. It's crazy to say in an episode where Joel literally died. I think that from a direction standpoint, Neil was in his bag. The freaking set design and the location design, and even we didn't even talk about freaking Eugene took a freaking L. Like, there's so much. Like, they brought us to so many different lows and highs that I think that when you rewatch this episode later, you're not just gonna appreciate it. You're gonna be like, man, this is therapeutic. I think this is kind of like a missing gem of not just this series, but I think the whole entire franchise. People are gonna be talking about this for a while, but I can't say why. So 10 out of 10 for me. This is where I'm at with it, and I'm not gonna say anything else. I'll let y'all close y'all's thoughts. If Jarrell or Ronan want to add to that, they can. But I'm not saying anything more, Jorge.
For now, fresh off the episode, I go 10-10 as well. I really need to let it sink in to like fully analyze it, but the film don't lie. You saw me. I broke again. I didn't think they would break me again like this. Like, it broke.
I broke. I was crying.
I broke. I know. But like, I literally was trying my best because I thought museum was it. I thought museum was it, and was like, okay, we made it through it. Nope.
Yeah, I'm definitely not like a crier with like shows or movies personally. At least not ordinarily speaking. It's usually very rare. But I will say, I definitely almost broke when Joel was trying to explain to her, he was showing her the guitar for the first time, and he was trying to say that the engraving was something that he put in there because he was trying to base it off of one of her drawings, and that was really difficult for me. That was like really hard to hear when you know the full breadth of the story. Jesus Christ, it's just interesting that such a not only just like a violent man, but like a mentally disturbed man, can be so like warm or like personable and just like kind,
so gentle,
and that moment in particular, for sure, almost had me like coming to tears, and I'm not like a crier or anything.
Interesting. No, I think as an episode by itself, this was done. It was a beautiful episode from start to finish, seeing in a weird way almost like the generational curses that happen throughout throughout a family.
Hereditary.
Yeah, like it's it was done beautifully. I think my issues are just my issues at the end of the day, but this takes nothing away from the actual episode. And I do think that once I rewatch this whole season, I think it would be one of those where I think once I rewatch this season and the next season, this episode will make more sense, because hearing you guys talk about it, it's very intriguing to try to understand where you guys are coming from, and just kind of seeing, and I guess trying to think this is a game, not a show, and trying to think if I was playing a game and like my favorite character died and then I got the chance to interact with that character a little bit later on, I can see how that can like trigger emotions, and just kind of trigger yourself of like, crap, like this is why I got into this game, like because of these people, like these were my people. So I can see that. I think for me it'll be interesting to see once I get to see once I understand the story like you guys do. I think I will want to rewatch this whole season 2 and 3 over again to truly get the full grasp of it. But no, overall, I think I was just looking for not the wrong thing. I think I came into this episode with expectations, and that's on me. For not playing this game. But I think overall this episode was like, it was a beautiful episode. From start to finish, beautiful. I almost wish I wish they wouldn't have shown present day Ellie right in front of the theater. I wish it would have like end scene right after the porch. But I think they did that little 2-second teaser just to kind of remind you, like give you that punch to the gut of like, oh no, we're still in the thick of it. Like, hold on to your pony. But no, this was good.
Yeah, ironically, the only thing I was going to bring up was, God, I forget Captain O'Hara's character name, when Joel went to her about
Gail.
the moss. Yeah, they went to her about the moss. And Ellie's interpretation is like, oh, it's about dreams and visions. And he's like, oh, okay, that's really cool. And then he goes and asks her, like, you have a book or anything about it? He's like, wait, what? No, moss about death. And when I tell you, for us three, that hits different. I don't even know how to really describe that. And again, this was not in the game. None of that. Like, her character, Eugene, like, you heard about Eugene as an off character, but even how that all played out, we didn't get none of that.
I don't know if you guys spotted, but when she was cleaning up her drawings, there's a little writing in one of the drawings. She's like, you have a greater purpose.
Yep.
And that broke my heart, because I'm like, kid, just look at him. Look how he looks at you. That's it. That's your purpose right now. And it's a simple line he said, be a kid. Fuck, man. I'm tired. Fuck.
Yeah, you're literally emotionally compromised and sick. So we're gonna go, and we'll be back, God help us, for the last episode. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Talk to y'all later. Peace, everybody. Good night.